to start the recording. Hello. Can we have a few more videos on, please? Right. Thank you so much. Okay. So welcome to Art Therapy Level 1, Day 5. And today we'll be exploring our past, present, and future selves through art. Right. I am Atridas and I'm the editor-in-chief of Emoja. I've been working with Dr. Riada since the beginning. And professionally, I'm an aspiring psychologist and have completed my diploma in art therapy, which is accredited from the CPT UK. Right. Rashmija, can we have the next slide? Okay, so a little check-in. How are we feeling today? Okay, so under it, I've given a small postscript which says no rating scales today. Because we'll be delving into a lot of non-directiveness today, hence I wanted all of you to just come up and speak a few words on how you're feeling today instead of getting more objective and labeling yourself on rating scales. Who wants to go first? Okay. Hi, Nidhi. Hi.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. I'm actually
Yes,
really
Nidhi, you want to
exhausted
go
today.
ahead?
Yeah, I'm exhausted today. I've traveled, I've been traveling today, so I am exhausted at present and very
Is
sleepy.
Nidhi audible to all of you?
We forgot Daddy.
She is.
Yes, we forgot Daddy Pig.
Just a second, guys. Okay, Nidhi, you want to go ahead now?
Okay, can you hear me now? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I was saying I've traveled today, I've been traveling today, so I'm extremely exhausted and feeling very sleepy and tired.
Is someone speaking?
Someone is sharing their own experiences, sir. You can go ahead.
It's not working. You can hear me, right?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Give me a second. I'm so sorry, guys. Yes, I can't hear you guys. Just a second. Rashmija, can you speak?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yes, I can hear you now. Thank God. Thank you.
Okay, it
I'm so
happens.
sorry.
It's just that technical glitch. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. I'm so sorry, Nidhi. You can go ahead now.
It's okay, it happens.
Yeah.
So, I was just saying, I've traveled since morning, I've been traveling, and I just
Okay.
reached to my place. So, I'm really exhausted and tired,
Okay.
very sleepy, and, at the same time, I had to see my son also. So, it's
Okay.
just too much.
So today you're going to get more tired. Just a caution, right? This is a heavy activity which we are going to do. Anyways, thank you so much for sharing. Anyone else? Okay. Yes, Shafaq, right. Um, I'm not very good. I'm missing my word. Okay, I send strength to you. Take care. Anyone else who would like to unmute and speak a few words on how they are feeling? Come on, we're a small group today. Okay, we are 60 people here, not a very small group.
Can I
Anyone
go ahead?
else? Yes, yes, please.
I feel a bit tired today. I have been sick for a while, but I'm finally feeling a burst of energy because I was really excited for this workshop. So, yes, that's it.
That's good to hear, Rashmita. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, can I get one more answer? Okay, hi, Kosha. Hi, you may go ahead.
Yeah, hello, sir. So,
Yeah.
I was listening to music just before half an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, after that, I was feeling very happy. So, I would rate my mood like 8, 9 on 10. I have.
Okay, that's nice. But we are, as I mentioned, no rating scales today. We are
Okay,
just
okay.
speaking words. Let's put our divergent thinking into action today. Okay,
I'm
thank you so much.
I'm feeling a little low and uncertain about things, what I'm going to do tomorrow or day after.
Okay, I understand.
And
Take
I
care.
do want to sleep as it is a day holiday, but due to lot of work and lot of noises, not
Mm-hmm.
able to sleep.
Okay, take care, Sushila. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Melissa writes. Okay, who wants to go ahead? I could read
Hello,
your name.
good evening, sir.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, Navya.
Actually, last week was very exhausting. I had to complete so many assignments, and I finally submitted all the assignments on Saturday.
Okay,
So today was very relaxing for me, and
okay,
I'm feeling all charged up.
okay. That's good to hear, Navya. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, all of you, for sharing how you're feeling today. I acknowledge each one of your answers. Rashmita, can we move ahead? Okay. So now we come to the group contract. So before any begin with a workshop, I like to lay down a few rules, some basic ground rules, which in this case is the group contract. So I'll read it aloud for all of you, and maybe you can send a thumbs up in the chat box, right? So we as a group will respect a member's decision if he or she does not want to share his or her work. Group confidentiality is extremely essential. We will not disclose personal experiences of others which are shared here with people outside the group. Anything which is shared by anyone here will be perceived in a non judgmental way. Maintaining a positive and warm attitude towards your fellow group members is essential. And lastly, if you don't feel like sharing or do feel overwhelmed at any point of time, you're free to drop a text and turn off your videos. Right? We all understand? We all agree? Oh, right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, moving ahead, Rashmija. Okay. So the key takeaways from today's session will be first, as I mentioned, we'll be exploring our past, present, and future self through art. And then we'll be delving into a bit of non directiveness in art. And then we'll try understanding how we can apply this technique with our clients as well as on ourselves. Okay. So I would like to point one thing here. Did you all notice, like when I said that no rating scales today, how much a person could open up and speak that they are not feeling good? Otherwise, you just would just like rate your mood on 4 or 5 or 10, right? So this is the power of non-directiveness and open-endedness. How you can actually make your client more open to things and make him or her and basically give him or her a space where he or she can share a lot of more things than what he or she can share in his or her daily. Just a second. Okay, right. Yeah, daily sessions. Okay, Rashmita, can we move ahead? Okay, now comes the icebreaker prompt. So the prompt. So for today's icebreaker is, how would you describe your past, present, and future self? Now, for this, I would request you if you could unmute and speak a few lines on it, because I think this is something which is very personal, and I think it would be nice if I could hear it from your own voice. Hi, Vaibhavi. Yes.
Okay, so I'd describe my past as a very naive and carefree and bit dumb kind of girl who is like chatty and always shares anything like a Mufat kind of girl. And the present is kind of reserved and is often like contemplating whether what to say and what to not say, and very indecisive, and I don't know, it's kind of very reserved kind of person. And in future I see myself as a very confident and a mature girl, with like a wise girl who has like all the knowledge and right words to say at right time. So yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Vaibhavi, for sharing. It shows how self-aware you are of your, how aware you are of yourself. Okay, Mansi, you want to go ahead? Okay, it's Manasi.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, hi, Manasi.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah.
So, in the past, I was a very straightforward, very outspoken. I
Mhm.
would speak like anything. At times, I would be rude at times too. But now, like since a few months ago, I have started using positive affirmations. Even if I do not like something, I say it in such a way so that the person doesn't feel bad.
Okay.
I was kind of a very negative person, so now I have like inclined myself towards uh, positivity. So as if we talk about present, I am kind of a very positive person, not like not wholly positive, but yes, I try to first see the positive side, and I think uh, that makes me stand out. And in future, I like I decide to continue that and make it my strength.
Okay. Right. Thank you so much for sharing, Mansi. So you basically are saying that you are now drawing a lot of boundaries around you and trying to be the person who you really want to be, right?
Not exactly boundaries,
Yeah.
but taking care of others.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So for the betterment, because at times, see, words are the most powerful thing in the world.
True. True.
So our words has the power to heal or like break.
Right.
So I decide to heal people.
Okay.
Even if I don't like something, I'll present it in such a way the person doesn't feel bad. And if something which is not good for the person can actually change it. So not
Okay.
setting
Right.
boundaries, but yeah, doing something for the betterment.
Betterment. Right. I get it, Mansi. Thank you so much for clarifying. Okay. Who wants to go next? Okay. Hi, Kosha. You may go ahead.
Okay, in past, like I was a very self-critical person
Okay.
in terms of like self-talk and also in terms of managing stressors.
Mhm.
So in my like I was very very sensitive to stress. We all are, but I was more.
Mhm.
So I explored on that a bit. I worked on it. I developed good coping skills. Still, I'm working on it.
Okay.
So I see my present self as someone who is stable, who
Okay.
is more tactful,
Okay.
and in terms of dealing with challenges, in terms of dealing with ups and downs. And I would rather see my future self as someone who is very much empowered.
Okay.
So
Right.
that is
That's good to hear,
I
Kosha.
take
Thank
from
you
it.
so much for sharing. Okay. Who wants to go next?
Hi.
Okay. Okay. Hi.
In
Hi, Chan.
in
Yeah.
in my past, I'm a princess. Then I'm a dead person. After then, I'm a servant girl. And now I'm a warrior. Future, I'm a queen.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much. Okay. Chanchal, you want to go next?
Hello everyone, good evening.
Good evening, Chanchal.
So I'll say that I had initially started having anxiety few months back,
Mhm.
and now I'm working on myself,
Mhm.
like really hard to be a better person to get out of this anxiety thing and all.
Okay.
And for future, I just want to be carefree and all lovable, and not to be self-critical, not to be judgmental. I want to stop overthinking. I'm thinking a lot nowadays,
Mhm.
and I'm trying many things to reduce it. And I would like to say two lines which I have written in past.
Okay.
उड़ान भर ली है मैंने, बस मंजिल मिलना बाकी है, किस्मत का क्या करूं, मेरे हौसले ही काफी है.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Chanchal, for sharing that. It was beautiful. So at least you have the strength and you really want to change, right? So that's a very good thing about you. Thank you so much. Okay, who wants to go next? Okay. Hi, Mariam. So basically, we are doing the icebreaker activity where you have to describe about your past, present, and future self. Okay. Priya wants to go ahead. So, okay. Yeah, you may go ahead, Priya.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Priya.
Yes, I just want to describe my past by my 11th and 12th class experience as I'm missing them that time with my friends and my all classmates. So currently I'm thinking about that, and at present I'm also pursuing BCom and I'm studying in college. I'm exploring new things and I'm meeting with new people. So this quite interesting as well as, but at the time I also think about my past, and I'm a little bit nervous also at times to meet people or to talk with them. But still, I'm working on it. And for future, I think to become a person better than of whom I'm at present. I want to become a good communicator and communicate with different people. And some more dreams are there. I've not explored much, but I'm trying to figure out what I need. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Priya, for sharing. Okay, so I think one common theme which we can see from, okay, someone has written down in the comments as well. Okay, past wounded, present healing, future shining and true. Thank you so much, Mariam, for sharing. Okay, so I guess one common theme which we can see among all the answers is growth. Like either a person is improving on or like himself or herself, or has changed or has evolved. So I think growth is one theme which really dominates in all our answers, which I guess it's same for me as well, if I had to describe my past, present and future selves. So thank you so much for sharing, everyone. Okay, Roshmia, can we move ahead then? Okay, so the materials which you will be requiring today is sheets of paper, watercolors, paint brushes, pen or pencil, and lastly your own self. The reason why I asked you to bring watercolors is that watercolors is one of the best medium which to facilitate catharsis or the release of emotional energy, right? If you don't have watercolors, the next best medium would be paint, which okay, Ronak. So you can bring three. I'll tell you about how you can go ahead with it. You can bring three sheets max, right? So if you don't have watercolors, the next best option you can go ahead is with poster colors or any kind of paint. I'll give you a minute to get your supplies ready. Rashmita, I guess you can change the slide for now. Yes, Fatma, you may listen, but it would be good if you could watch the recording and do the activity. It's a very beautiful activity. Thank you so much, Mariam. Okay, so we ready? Okay, so we are ready. Okay, so as you know, the name of the activity is exploring your past, present, and future selves through art. Now, either you can use a single sheet and fold it into three halves, or you can use three different sheets. It's completely up to you. Now, what you have to do is first you need to label, if you're using three different sheets, label past, present, and future on top of the sheet. So we can quickly do that.
Could you please repeat?
Yes. So Nidhi, what we are basically doing is either you can take an entire sheet and fold it into three halves, or you can take three separate A4 sheets, and you need to label past, present, and future on top of each sheet.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So the next part of the activity, so basically the instructions are very simple, right? So I'll talk you through each of yourself. I'll just give you a quick prompt, and on the prompt you have to react, and you'll be getting 2 minutes to paint your each self, right? Paint each piece of artwork. You'll be getting 2 minutes approx. And after and we'll begin with our past self. And there are no rules for painting. You can use as many colors as you want. You can do whatever you feel like. You can draw figures, you cannot draw figures, whatever you feel like. So there are no ground rules for this. It's completely up to you. Okay, now I would require, if you all are ready, we can begin with the activity. Are you all ready? The instructions are clear to everyone. If you have any doubts, you can unmute and ask. Okay, Priyas. Yes, Farrell, you want to say something?
Repeat the instruction, I missed out on that.
I can't hear you, Farrell. Can you just...
I said, can you please repeat the instructions? I missed out
Yeah.
on the instructions.
Yeah, so basically we are taking an A4 sheet, either we are folding it into three halves or we are taking three individual sheets, and we are writing past, present, and future on top of each sheet. Then what we are doing is the basic instructions is that I'll talk you through, I'll give you a quick prompt for your each self, and we'll begin with our past self. And on giving the prompt, you need to paint yourself, paint that respective self, right? And there are no rules for painting. You can use as many as colors you want. You can draw something, you cannot draw something, whatever you feel like. Okay, right. Just a caution, since this activity might be heavy, you might want to be in a place where you feel comfortable and safe. And if it's comfortable, you can take a deep breath before beginning. That sets the mood. Okay, we make a start then. We'll be first exploring our past self. Close your eyes and think about your past self. Let the thought of your past self just sink in. Think about your past self. And you may start painting now. You have 2 minutes for it. Thank you so much thank you so much, Mariam, for sharing. But maybe we can do the whole thing after we finish with the activity. Then we can share together. Okay. So your 2 minutes are up. Can we put our hands up? Okay. Yes, Manjima, you wanted to say something? Okay, Roshmi also. Manjima, can you go ahead first? Okay, Roshmija, you wanted to say something? Okay, okay, it was vanished. It's okay. Now, similarly, think of. So sorry. Thank you so much for waiting. Yeah. Now, similarly, we'll be making the artwork for our present self. Okay. Now, again, you might want to close your eyes for this and think about your present self. Just let that thought sink in and do nothing else. Your present self. Right. We now begin with sharing. We now begin with painting. I'm so sorry. We have 2 minutes for this. We close at 8:29.
So I can make use of color pencils in order to draw something if I wish to.
Yes, you may. Yes, you may. Or you may just want to just use paint. I guess paint works the best for this.
Okay.
But whatever you feel like. Okay, can we stop painting for now? Right. Okay. Now we are left with our last self, which is our future self. Okay. So similarly, you will be closing your eyes for this again and let the thought of your future self just sink in. Just think about your future self, nothing else. Right. You may start painting now. We close at 8:31. Okay, we make a stop now. By this, we come to the end of the activity. We now come back as a group. Okay. Now we move to sharing. Rashmija, can we have the next slide? I have just one simple question for you, and it would be nice if you could unmute and speak a few lines about it. How do you feel right now? Okay, Jyoti, go ahead.
A little bit clear about my emotions, getting more clarity. We know somewhere that things are holding us, but after this, we can say, yeah, okay, this is what is stopping me from achieving something that I want to.
Right. So you have things more clear in front of us, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jyoti, for sharing. Okay, who wants to go next? I can't see. Okay. Where were we? Yes, where were we?
Okay, so I haven't used my watercolor since a long time, so that I'm seeing a few fungus on my watercolor cakes. That's a different thing. So yeah, I haven't used them for a long time, and because of this workshops, I'm able to use them, and I'm feeling really good about using the watercolor. Like
Itself.
gliding the brush is therapeutic for me, and
Right.
I don't have any feeling about the arts.
So, so do you see anything in those pictures?
Yes, I see a pattern which I created.
Okay, it's okay, Gagi. Where were we? Thank you so much. Okay, Gagi, you want to go next?
Uh, Hello.
Hi, Gagi.
I think I was pretty confused about what to draw. I
Okay.
have been practicing art for a really long time, but then I don't know. As I grew up, I think I have a mental block and I just cannot draw from my mind. I don't know, but something I don't know about it. But yeah, I've drawn it and I think I can understand some of the things that I've drawn and why I've drawn it.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, but it's actually, Gargi, it's natural to feel lost and not know what do I want to draw, because art in therapy is not meant to be perfect. It's just meant to be you. It should represent you, right? So it's okay. It happens. Thank you so much for
I
sharing.
just don't
Yeah.
know what my paintings actually mean. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I
And why
understand.
I have drawn them. It just came to my mind and I just did draw it.
Yeah, that's what generally happens, right? Because art therapy, it's basically a representation of your unconscious, right? Things which you have repressed. So it is natural to also not recognize what you've drawn. Okay. Shubhra, you want to go next?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Welcome.
I feel more aware
Mhm.
about my own transitions
Okay.
and I feel very sorted rather.
Okay. Right.
Yeah,
So it gives you a
thank you.
sense of clarity. You might call
Yeah, yeah,
that.
definitely.
Okay. Thank you so much, Shubhra, for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay. Melissa, you want to go ahead?
Yes, hi. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So, I haven't specifically drawn per se, but the colors that I've used, I feel that is saying a lot of things. And the most common color that I used in all three selves was yellow, which is for me representing my happiness. So, I see my happiness being like an overpower over all the other emotions.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Melissa, for sharing that. And I think this is what we are going to talk about later. That how you see your piece of artwork also basically means the whole thing. You know, you don't need anyone to analyze your pieces of artwork. Okay, Ronak, you want to go next?
Hi,
Okay, hi.
hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi. I think what I feel is that I knew what my past was, and I know maybe what makes me happy, like what I want in my future. But what I painted in my present, it somehow made me realize that, I have been trying to avoid the reality. Like I know I am not doing okay, and I'm just pretending each day that it's okay, I'm going to be okay.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
So it has it helped you being aware of this. So you've been made aware of how you're feeling, right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So
I
it
mean,
has.
I just what I painted, it just made me reflect on it. I just actually accepted it in the painting, what I'm actually feeling.
It's beautiful. Right. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay.
Thank you.
Who wants to go next? Okay. Shubhra, I guess we talk to Shubhra. Who wants to go next? Anyone from the Emojar team? Okay. So I'll share a story where I when I did this activity for the first time, what I drew was basically something like this. So this was my drawing, a circle being complete during in my future self, right? So I think it represented one thing, which is my will to become a better person in life, become a complete person, become a person who's completely aware of his or her feelings. I don't know if I've um, reached there yet, but still, it's a long way to go. Okay, Prachi wants to share. Prachi, go ahead, please.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
So like I've been attending these sessions from the last 3 days, but I always struggle with drawing something.
Mm-hmm.
But today I have managed to, I think, complete the task.
Okay.
So
The win.
uh, yeah, sure. So wait, let me just flip my camera so I can show my painting.
Yes, sure.
Um, can you see it?
Yes, I can. Just a second, let me pin. Yes, I can.
Yeah. So I don't know how, but today I was very much able to complete the task. The first one is my past self,
Mm-hmm.
which is sunlight, because I used to like not be very aware of my emotions and used to think that every day is a new beginning. My present self is more aware of my emotions and like currently figuring out things and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I aspire to be a rainbow, which is messy, filled
Mm-hmm.
with colors, filled with experiences.
Right.
So that's my future self. Like I
Right.
aspire to be that.
Right. Thank you so much, Prachi, for sharing. I think your representation of a rainbow is very beautiful because, like you said, like it's like a mess, a total messy things.
Yeah.
And all. I think it's so relevant that in reality, what we think is picture perfect, it does not come like that, right? It's
Yeah,
always perfect
exactly.
things together. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Chanchal, you want to go ahead, right?
Yes. So can I show the painting along
Yes,
with?
yes, of course. Please go ahead.
So this feels like an tumor. Really sorry to use the word, but it is all made up of little things inside us and has really blocked somewhere inside our body. Um, so coming to the next part, the present. So I feel like I'm in a process of baking. When we cross through the bakery, we smell such a pleasant smell. And when we decorate the cake, it is in the process of being the best. And this is a candy. This somewhat represent a little texture of past, but it is still sweet and type of getting better. Then coming to future, this was literally unexpected that I'm gonna draw this, but I can totally see freedom and self-love through this. That no judgment, no criticism, only loving part and self-love.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing, Chanchal. And I think the theme which I can maybe see here is that you're constantly changing, right? Your three drawings are so different from each other, and I think that's a very good thing because, as we all know, change is the only constant, right? Okay.
Thank you for the
Thank you so much,
appreciation.
Chanchal, for sharing. Okay. Who wants to go next? Kosha, you were showing your drawing. Okay. Do you want to talk about it?
Yes, sir.
You're on mute.
Okay, okay. I'll just show the picture.
So, this shows both pleasant as well as some of unpleasant experiences which I experienced earlier in past. So, some of them were related to academics, some of them were related to my health, and so I've represented it on my paper. All
Okay.
of the things.
Right.
That's my past self. Now I'm yet to do the present self.
Okay.
So I did take time on it.
Okay, you may take your time. Since we are constrained, we are put in a box, so we can't allocate a lot of time. Yeah. Okay, who wants to go next? Okay, Gargi.
Can I show my picture that I've drawn?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Would love to see it.
This is for the past, and
Okay.
this is for the present,
Okay.
and this one is for the future.
Okay. Wow, it's beautiful. Are you a professional painter or something? Do you paint?
Yeah, I paint.
Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Gargi, for sharing.
Can I present?
Who's this? Okay, it's
Shivaranjani.
yes, yes, yes. Please. Okay. So your past is to your right or left?
So that picture is my past, present, and future. I don't want to share about the things, but this is the reality.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, anyone else would like to go ahead? Okay, I guess we can move forward now. Rashmita, can you please present again? Give her a minute, guys. Rashmija, you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm presently writing.
Till then, I can present my.
You can turn on your video because if you are going to present, Rashmija's screen will be off. Yes. You can maybe flip your camera and show your painting.
Is it visible now?
Yes, it's visible. Just a second.
It's visible.
Yes, Priya, it's visible. Okay. Okay, so I see you have to use three different colors, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Priya, for sharing.
Thank you.
We move ahead then. Rashmija, can we have the next slide? Mariam, can we see your drawing after the class ends because I guess we are running late anyways. Okay. So I had written down a few points which I wanted to discuss on applying how we can apply this technique with our clients. So first is that we need to administer this in a very non-directive way, right? So when I'm saying in a non-directive way, so there should be no rushing and there should be no direction. You do not need to direct your client like, for example, a girl who has been abused by her father in her past. So if you wanted to administer this in a directive way, you would put something like maybe you could draw the time where you were abused by your father. So that would be a directive thing, right? Now what happens is with directive techniques is that since a lot of things come out, so if your rapport is not good with your client, it has a very higher chance to sever the whole relationship, right? So using the techniques in a directive way during the initial stages of rapport formation is a big no. Hence, non-directive ways are very safer and very open. You have a certain sense of openness in them, right? Where your client can freely interact, that your client can freely share, and you also are just there to be with your client and just listen to your client, not rather just constantly have that urge to analyze it, right? Okay. So the next point which I wanted to share is it's useful for building rapport as well as conversation. So the thing with rapport is it's very tricky, right? You would not want to use this while you are building a rapport with your client during the early phases, because this is a very personal and a very heavy technique. Here we are a lot of people, we are doing this like this, but in a counseling room, in a therapy room, this is a very heavy technique, right? And it's also just I forgot to mention that while you administering it with your clients, you don't have any time frame for 2 minutes or whatsoever, because we are bounded by time. I did that, so you can give your client as much time as he or she wants, right? So it's very good for building rapport. Once you have a certain amount of trust with your client and you see that the client is coming to you, he or she is not resistant to therapy, then you may administer this technique, right? It will be very useful for the client as well as yourself. And and for the conversation part, it's a very good method of creating conversation. As you all saw that a lot of people opened up, right? This is, I guess, the power of non-directiveness, that you have when you're given the space, you can open up and talk about things a lot, right? And for building conversation, one more thing which I would like to mention is that rather than constantly having that urge to know more about your client's artwork or what he or she has included, or things like why did you draw this, why did you use this color, or something of that sort, you may just ask some non-directive questions like would you mind talking about what you've drawn, or something like do you see anything in your artwork? So these are much safer questions, and again gives the client a broad, gives the client a certain amount of openness to talk about it, right? And instead of when the client replies, instead of, for example, if the girl who was abused by her father, she says that I think I can For my past self, I think I've drawn the time where I was abused by my father and I was very lonely. So what you might do is, instead of asking and wanting to know more about, oh, so like what can you do you want to share more about it, where did it happen, and things like that, you might just want to mirror your client's answer. So you might just want to say something like, so you're saying that your artwork for which represents your past self is from a time where you have felt very lonely, you felt very alone, and when you were abused by your father, right? This will in turn make the client open up once more to you, right? It will not like make the client much more defensive. There are basically things. There are times where the client tends to be very defensive, so you have to be very cautious and very careful while asking questions and administering this whole thing. Okay. So the next point which I wanted to include is it provides a global understanding of the client. So as we all know, a lot of therapists, most of us are trained in different therapies. People who are trained in psychoanalysis mostly focus on the past. People who are trained in the humanistic therapies focus on the present. Right. So we sometimes miss this global or understanding the client in its totality. Like what made the client? Who is he or she right now in my room? And what expectation does he or she has for his own or her future, right? So I think this also gives a very global, like I said, global understanding about the client, which in turn helps us, and it also helps you with setting the goals for counseling. That like, what does the client want to be in the future? It also speaks a lot about that. And last point, it definitely cultivates self-awareness. Self-awareness is a word which has been overused by this culture, by our culture, and has lost weight. But just one thing which I really feel is, when a person is self-aware, or when a person is aware of what about their feelings, it does half the work. Now you just have to sit with your feelings, because there is a lot of rescuing, and there's a lot of things, like for example, all our family or friends, they're always trying to rescue us and stop us from feeling our feelings, right? For example, if you're feeling low, your friends will say, let's go out, let's go and party and all that. But what really is needed is to sit with your feelings and acknowledge them, accept them, take out time for your own self, and just feel your feelings. I think, and a person can only do that when he or she is self-aware. Rashmita, can you quickly move to the next slide? Okay. Okay. So before beginning with this, what do you see in this picture? Anyone who would like to unmute and say?
There are unlimited possibility of many versions of you in future, and
Right.
any version can be your future.
Right. Anyone else who has a different thought to this?
You are the center of everything,
Hmm.
and yeah, that is the first thought that came in my mind.
Okay. Right.
I saw a dandelion.
Yes.
Yeah, dandelion faded.
Okay. Right. Kosha, you want to go ahead?
Yes, sir. So what I see is, yeah, I agree to the previous point that we are the center.
Mhm.
But then those other arrow points show me other areas like my relationships, my career, my friendship, my social life.
Right. So you see yourself in the different lines in your
Yeah.
future, right? Okay. Okay. Manas, you want to go ahead?
Yes, sir. The first thing which I saw was multiple lines which had circle at the end. And like when I had a closer look, I what I perceived was that it depends. There are multiple directives, but it depends upon us that in which direction we want to go, or which path we want to lead. So that's what I perceived.
Right. I also look at this in a pretty similar way. So how I look at it is like, you were a person in the past. Now you are a person in the present. Now you have the power to go in whichever direction you want in the future, right? So I think what I really meant to share here is that passing the power back to client. I think that's a very important thing which you can do through art, making the client realize that he or she cannot go back in the past and change things, but what he or she can do is accept his or her own past and have the power to change his or her own future, right? So a lot of Rashmi, can you go back to the previous slide? Yeah. So a lot of passing of power, and these things can only be done when once a client is aware of his or her own self, right? So in your counseling session, art can be used as a very powerful tool, right? But you cannot, as Ria ma'am was also saying, that you cannot only rely on art, right? You have to have your counseling skills, right? And art will be a very, it will give you a heads up in something of that sort. Okay. We have a section where I'll be taking a few questions and we'll be discussing a few things. But Roshmija, can we move to the next section? Okay. And lastly, it's applying with yourself, which is pretty much similar of how you're going to apply it with your clients. It can be used for self-exploration and awareness. How the whole picture will be in front of you about your past, present, and future self. The activity which you just did, and the next point which I thought of including is tracking yourself. Now, this can be done. This is a very, I think it's a very nice thing to do. Maybe you can do this technique every 2 months, and then you can compare your drawings over the period of time, and then you may try finding that is your relationship with your past changed. Do you see your past differently than you used to see your past 2 months ago, right? So these things can be done while applying with yourself. Okay, Rashmija, can we go to the next slide? Okay, now the floor is completely yours. Now I would encourage all of you to, if you want to unmute and speak about how you would you would like to use this technique with your clients, or any contribution you want to add, you can ask me any question. I'll try answering. If not, we'll get Ria ma'am to answer all your doubts. Right? Anything you would like to share? Yes, Manasi.
So my question is, can we apply art therapy along with CBT? And if yes, then in what ways? Could we just
Yes.
simply, sorry,
Yes. Go ahead.
could we simply include these activities, or there are some alternatives?
See, now art-based CBT is a very different thing, right? It's similar. If you understand art therapy, art-based CBT will be the easiest for you to understand. So this technique molded into an art-based CBT would be describe your past, present, and future self using a paragraph, right? Where you record your thoughts and basically you do the whole thing. So you might also ask the person, along with that you might want to draw a little figure or something of that sort representing the whole thing, right? But if you read up about art-based CBT, it will be pretty much easy to understand if you are clear with art therapy. Did you
Okay,
get your
so
answer? Yeah.
yeah, I got it. So that would be like doodling along with some phrases and sentences.
Yes, right. Basically in CBT what we do is thought recording and a lot of,
Yes, sir. So
yeah,
negative thought patterns
yeah,
identifying.
yeah. So that would be it. You'll get a lot of art-based CBT techniques on the net as well. You can go through it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Manasi. Okay, Kosha, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so my question and explanation was that if a client is drawing symbols or painting symbols,
Mhm.
if we wish to explore that, so
Mhm.
we can ask them questions which we usually ask in TAT test, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, where does this person come from?
Mhm.
What did he she face? How
Yes.
is it feeling right now?
Yes. Yeah.
So
No.
that can be done. Yeah.
Yeah, that can be done, but that will be a directive art technique, right? Now TAT
Okay.
is a separate test. It has a
Yeah.
manual and everything. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
But if you want to administer an art therapy technique, and if you want to ask questions like that, this will be a very directive technique. And like I
Okay.
said, you can obviously apply directive techniques, but you have to make sure that the rapport with your client is proper. It's solid, right?
Yeah.
So that it does, you don't have the fear of your client being very defensive, because what happens is, like, to look at it from your client's perspective, he's coming to a stranger and sharing his or her feelings, right?
Yeah.
Now if you try digging in and try going into him or her too quickly, he or she might become very defensive, which may again
Yeah.
build resistance to approach
Resistance.
therapy, right?
Yes. Okay,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you, Kosha. Okay, Kenath.
Um, Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening, Kenath.
So I actually had two questions.
Yeah, okay.
So first of all, when you asked us to think about our past,
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of confused, as if like past, like, is it some sort of a particular event which influenced me a lot, or it has to be a gist of my past.
Okay, right.
Like that was the first question, and second is that like the analysis, my like when I'm looking at my paintings, I'm quite confused at what I'm doing, because actually I love painting, so it's like I am just doing whatever I want to. I don't know if it is actually sitting in the idea of past, present, and future.
Right. Okay. So, Kenna, to answer your first question is, I think this is what non-directiveness implies, right? If it was a directive technique, I could have given you a prompt, something of like maybe draw a time in your past where you were hurt, right? This would
Yes.
be a directive thing. Now, since I've kept the whole thing, draw your past, draw who you were in your past or whatever of that sort, right? So this gives you an opportunity to explore. It makes your divergent thinking come into play, right? Which in turn helps you, because directive techniques are very, like I said, they are very straightforward. They always delve into they are very helpful. They will give you a lot of quick answers, but you need to have that rapport. You need to your client should be open to it. Your client should be open to explore his own feelings, right?
Yes.
Do you get your answer from this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, and
Definitely.
yeah, and your second question coming to that is basically, Kenneth. So as I mentioned before as well, that art in our art in therapy is basically a representation of our unconscious onto a piece of paper, right? So it is completely fine to not recognize what you're drawing, because things which you have repressed all these years might come out, right? And you might not recognize them because it happens unconsciously, right? So it's completely okay to not recognize, but if you really want to make meaning out of it, and you might look at your drawing and ask your drawing metaphorically, like, who are you? Like, it helps a lot.
Hmm.
Okay, then you might get a few answers, or just take some time, be in a space, and try discovering, or try exploring, like, what have I drawn. Do you get your answer from this?
I'll have to take a lot of time to analyze. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Kenneth. Okay, who wants to go next? Okay, Mariam. Hi, Mariam.
Hello, I'm Mariam
Hi.
from Egypt. And
Hi.
I'm sorry, my English is not very perfect, but I'm trying.
Yes, it's okay.
Here is my past self.
Mhm.
It was full of negative self-talk, doubt, depression, inner
Mhm.
critique, no self-esteem, no confidence,
Mhm.
sensitivity, sadness,
Mhm.
love. Um, my Now I feel like I'm healing.
Mhm.
I feel power, strength, light, and I am full of hope. And this is my future self. I don't know why I saw myself like an angel. I want to spread the light and love to people all over the world. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing, Mariam. Your drawings are beautiful. Okay, who wants to go next? Anything someone would like to mention how they would want to use this with their clients or with themselves? Divita, right?
Yeah, hi. So I want to know basically when you're talking about, because this is a very intense activity,
Right.
and when we ask about the past, present, and the future self, there are times when they are very overwhelmed. Now I understand in talk therapy how would you deal with it, but when we're doing the art therapy, how do we, like, in a very non-directive through non-directive inquiry, we deal with that overwhelm, or that, if there is a case of abuse, then the event also replays in the mind of the client. How do we, in a very non-directive way, through art therapy, we kind of try to heal it? Like, how do we do that? Because I understand it's very powerful and colors do have that impact on the brain.
Right. So, from my understanding, Divita, in non-directive therapy, if the person is feeling very overwhelmed while doing the activity, I, as a therapist, would just say that if it's okay if you don't want to continue doing the activity, right? I think I'll say that because non-directiveness is also about giving the person space and not rushing, like a few therapies which really focus on doing intensive activities and all that.
Yeah.
Uh, Using art in a non-directive way does not involve that. So if your client is feeling overwhelmed or is not feeling comfortable, you might just want to ask if it's okay if you want to just stop continuing. We might do this some other time.
Yeah, all right. And when we do get to the next time, we then ask them to sit with their feeling, whatever they're feeling, right? And
Right.
then we ask them to paint their feelings, like whatever feeling is coming up. Then we kind of we have a little creativity in this, and then we ask them to draw their feelings maybe, and then talk about
Yes.
it. Can that be
Yeah.
incorporated?
Yeah, completely, completely. These techniques are very modifiable. This is a very good thing about art therapy. So there's an activity called painting your feelings. So it's an icebreaker activity which generally we use before, during the beginning of the session. So your client comes in, and before beginning with the main art activity, you might just want to ask them. You might pick up a color and just paint whatever you feel like. Just paint your emotions. So this might also help the client loosen up a bit. And for administering the same thing next time, you might want to just ask your client that if you're comfortable, can we revisit the activity which we were trying to do the other day? That way.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Devita. Okay. Anyone else? Someone would like to share anything?
I think I have one thing to share, especially when you had that slide where the future had so many possibilities. That was also the point where I thought that how about, because a lot many times there are so many techniques, rightly said that if we do the analysis, it goes back into the past, then we deal with the present. But how about empowering yourself through thinking and talking about the future stories? Because the past doesn't control you, but how about the future stories where you can weave your own story full of light and love and the hope and desires that they have? So
Right.
how about we actually have that segment where we have them to paint or to draw simply about the future. I thought that has such a power and strength in itself, because it has a scope to change the whole narrative with which they're thinking about
True.
themselves.
True.
I really found it very, very beautiful, about the future possibilities. That whole slide and thinking about it, having in the counseling room,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Beautiful. Right. I completely agree with you. Can I get your name, please?
I'm Divita.
Okay, hi Vinita. So I completely agree with you, but I think it's also essential for us, for the clients to first be in peace with their past and their present self. So once you know the client is in peace, then you can maybe shift to the future, because maybe if the person is too much is dwelling in his or her past, and if we directly make him or her jump to his own future, right? So there might be a sense of very incongruence. He or she might internalize, and that might also he might also start thinking that I'm being continuously rescued. I want to talk about past, but my therapist is just rushing and making me and talking about things for in my future. How the future is beautiful. And am I making sense?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
meant that, when we arrive at that point,
Yeah.
then engaging in that future story to
Yes.
empower
Completely.
them.
Yeah.
At
That's
that
right.
point, I think it's very wonderful to
Yeah.
have that.
It's very powerful because it also instills optimism, hope, and things of that sort, right? Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay. Divita, you wanted to say something?
No, no, I just shared. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, then, Rashmija, can we have our last slide? Thank you to all of you for being here today. If you want, you can leave a feedback here right now. Okay, wherever you wanted to say something.
Hi, I wanted to ask about today's assignment. Do we have one?
Actually, the thing is that I'm not handling the groundwork. So, will it be good if Rashmija or Tista texts you after the
Okay.
whole thing? Yeah,
Okay,
or
okay.
you may text them; they will reply. Right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for everything. Thank you so much for being there today on the Sunday evening and spending time. And I hope this activity will be useful for you to use as well as for your own clients. Right? Can I know how was this activity from all of you? How did you feel about today's session? Anyone wants to share?
Again, I'm saying, okay. So yeah, it was good, and I felt good painting after a long time,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of self-reflection, and it felt like, okay, I have some clear idea of how my future looks like, or how I want my future to be like.
Right. Thank you so much, Vaibhav, for sharing. Thank you so much, Melissa. Thank you so much, everyone. Shrishti, as I said, I'm not handling the groundwork. You can message Tista. She'll get the whole thing up to you. Thank you so much.
I really loved your patience and teaching style. I think you're a very awesome teacher.
Thank you
Thank
so much, Divita. I'll try my best. Thank you so much. Okay, we sign off then. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sanjay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Tista, I guess we can stop recording now.